Hi there, people. This is Pray Love, and today we're reviewing um, Sweet Leaf by Room 1015. So, this is a fragrance I've been looking at recently. I've been looking back at it because I've done a video about Room 1015. It was like all first impressions of this brand and this niche perfumery house, and it's amazing. It's a really good brand, and it's pretty affordable too. Like, it's niche perfumery, but it's not like a crazy expensive. They have like a cherry punk that I really enjoyed, and others. I wanted to do a video about Sweet Leaf. So, what is uh, the main thing about Sweet Leaf? It is one of those cannabis oriented fragrance. There has been a few of them. I've, I've come across a few of them, and some of them are really popular. I'm talking about like Désir Toxique by M. Micallef that I never tried. And there's Bad Boy, I think, also that's allegedly has a cannabis note, which I don't really perceive. But the Sweet Leaf by Room 1015 is another of those cannabis oriented fragrance. Um, I will say, like, this is a very green fragrance. Okay, so the cannabis note in there is more like a very kind of a little bit animalic, very herbal facet. Okay, so very herbal. There's kind of an animalic touch to it. Um, it is also a bit more animalic because now I have like the notes on Fragrantica in front of me. I've made the error of not taking the notes in my last video, but I hope you apologize for me not being too conscious of like I like to have like just the impression, but I can see that there's grapefruit, which also gives a little more of an animalic vibe to it. If you weren't aware of that, grapefruit can be perceived as body odor, but in this case, it's not a very big deal. It is still a fantastic fragrance that is not coming across as bio or not coming across as super animalic. But there's also jasmine, which is, as some of you might know, an like very animalic note in many fragrances. Some people will say it's like it smells a bit like piss or something like that. I don't get that in that fragrance. It doesn't smell like piss, but it has this edge. Okay, so if you dose it very well, it still has this kind of animalic vibe, but it's just helps the fragrance. It's like a yin and yang situation. Okay, so this fragrance is a lot around the cannabis herbal note, like the herbal facet of the cannabis. Very green, very green, and the eucalyptus, which is very soothing. Okay, so it's kind of a relaxing fragrance too. Um, I really like it. I mean, it's very kind of innovative in some way, but in another, it kind of smells a bit like in the veins of Polo Green or Paco Rabanne pour Homme. So old school, very green herbal fragrances. But it's more so herbal and less woodsy. So interesting newer take on that kind of dense green fragrance. And the animalic side of it makes it less boring because you don't want to smell just like the kind of herbal like mix. You also like wanted to have like some punch and some like facets to it that evolves through time. And I think that this fragrance evolves really well. It has a soothing quality to a bit like a good tea or like an herbal tea or perhaps a green tea and a jasmine kind of like because there's jasmine too, but like jasmine tea. And there's also angelica in the fragrance. I think that there is kind of a floral vibe also to the fragrance. Um, kind of a fresher, like dewy kind of like undertone to the fragrance. It is not like super huge. It's more so herbal and a little bit animalic, but there's also kind of a dewy, uh, nice thing going on with like the floral notes, the supporting floral notes, and there's also a little sweetness, like a tea that's been sweetened, like a mint tea kind of. Okay, so like Moroccan mint tea, so more often than not, they're gonna be like very sweetened, and it has like this effect too, like the mintiness with like the. But now it's not mint; it's like more eucalyptus and the cannabis, but it gives off like kind of a mint tea vibe too. This is like a super good fragrance. Um, like I've worn it in to a gig I had. Like there was tons of people, and there were people that really enjoyed the fragrance. And I went to work one day, and some of my students like really liked the scent too. This is a very nice fragrance overall. Like a very different. Like no one has ever smelled something that's like this. It is not like completely mind blowing in the sense that it is still like very appealing. It is still something that people would gravitate towards. It's not like, oh my god, what is this scent? It's more like, oh, it smells pleasing, and it has those quality. There's someone who thought I was wearing like a mint tea fragrance with like a sweet note, but it's not too sweet. It's sweetened, but it's not like aggressively sweet. It's not syrupy sweet. It's just like a little sweet. And the floral notes I think are somewhat to blame also for that, and like the support for that. And I think it's a very good fragrance, like multifaceted, incredible fragrance. Now, one of the few points I will say about this brand is that the projection for the fragrances are not necessarily the best. My skin projects a lot, so I didn't have any issues with it, but I could see it go away quite faster than a lot of other fragrance I have. Um, but I don't think it's an issue. You can spray some more. It's I think that this brand is pretty much like more on the natural side, more on like, and it's not that expensive. So, like you can, if you really like the smell, you can reapply like twice per day or something like that. But it still works very well. It still projects a lot, and it still like lasts a long time. If it didn't project, I mean, no one would give me compliments about it. That's the first thing about getting compliments is it's because it projects. Because if it doesn't, you don't get compliments unless people are like super close. So, um, will people that don't like the smell of cannabis like this fragrance? Of course. Um, I don't think that like there's a few people in life that really enjoy the smell of people smoking pot, but I think that most people would agree it doesn't smell that nice. But this is not like a smoking like cannabis. Like it's not smoky at all. It's not like burnt. It has nothing to do with it. It's like the leaves. So it's got the animalic kind of side to cannabis that is present when you smoke it, but it's more so the leafy part, which has like a tea kind of a vibe. Okay, so it's uh, not something to be worried about, and it's very calming. It has like a very calming eucalyptus note, so I don't think that anyone would be like very offended by that fragrance. I think that's a very nice fragrance if you want to have a good time, go around like it's a daily driver kind of scent for me. I think it's a very nice balanced scent that you can wear anywhere. Very green also, but I think it shines a lot if you want to have some calm quality time. Perhaps do some stretching or yoga or um, whatever. Have a nice dinner at home. I don't know, like go see a movie, things like that. So that being said, spread love and spray love. Bye bye.